My name's Kerry Porter. I'm Primary Care Workforce Programme Manager at Greater Manchester ICS. So thanks for having us today. We're going to share some slides with you, and Mary and Rob, who will be with you in person, hopefully will be able to answer any questions. There you go. You have our contact details there. Please feel free to get in touch with us if you have any questions following today's session. So who are we and what do we do? Mary and Rob will introduce themselves, but I work across a number of portfolios in workforce, but generally in general practice and dental. And we've been coming out to the training programme since 2019, hopefully to help support individuals as they qualify and to tell you what programmes are available to support you from the national team at a local level and also right across Greater Manchester. So in terms of the feedback that we get from the GPST3s, it's been really invaluable to help inform and shape some programmes that we have developed. We now actively go out to all of the training programmes across Greater Manchester, and we do that on an annual basis. And because we're aware that there are a number of international GPs that train with us as well, we've also expanded the number of practices across Greater Manchester that hold a skilled worker licence. You'll be aware, if that's applicable to you, that currently you're sponsored by Health Education England, but once qualified may need to find employment with a practice that also hold that registration. So really pleased to say that we're actually up to 96 practices and continue to grow that. If you or somebody that you know needs help or support in identifying them practices, then please drop me a line and we will be able to support. Rob and his team have been able to grow the first 5 groups right across Greater Manchester. So pretty much regardless of where you will be working or living, there will be a first 5 group that you can access. And because of the feedback from the GPST3s, we've also gone on to develop a support mentorship programme that links into GPST3s, and you might actually be accessing that, so it'd be great to hear from you. There are lots of fellowship opportunities as well, specifically after the fellowship programme. There's a Fellowship Plus programme that we're working on at the moment, so really enhancing that portfolio role. And I'm going to play for you now some that Sarah and Lisa, they're called educational podcasts. They were fellows linked to the Health Education England programme, and I'm really hoping that that will give you a little bit of inspiration in terms of what's the art of possible if you come and join Mary and Bob's fellowship scheme.
Hello, I'm Dr. Sarah McDermott.
And I'm Dr. Lisa Adams.
And the two of us are GPs or trained as GPs, and we set up a podcast called Primary Care Knowledge Boost back in 2018. We both trained as GPs in Wigan and part of the Health Education England Fellowship Scheme. We were able to set up the podcast, and we worked with Wigan CCG doing it. So yeah, how we got started.
It's like over the last couple of years it's sort of taken off and spread over the country, and people seem to be enjoying it. We create content that is for all members of the primary care team, so clinicians, receptionists, practice managers, allied health, everyone who works in primary care should hopefully be able to benefit from the episodes. We focused on clinical episodes initially, and that's still our passion. We love producing clinical episodes with some teaching, but we also dabble in some bits about leadership, some bits about resilience, looking after yourself, and we talk to some other members of the primary care team as well. So there's lots of variety in our episodes, and usually something for everyone.
Yeah, so you can access it on pretty much anything really. So it's called Primary Care Knowledge Boost, so you can Google it and get it on the internet, or if you're using iTunes or anything like that, you can just put it in and you'll find it. So here's it on Google Podcasts. That's all blurry and you might just be able to see Lisa's face reflected back, but that's vaguely what the tile looks like. So recently did a couple of episodes, one on lower urinary tract symptoms in men, with consultant urologist Dan Burke. That was brilliant. And then working through a quality improvement project example, which is not as dry as it sounds. That was a really good episode actually. Then looking at nursing associates in primary care, one on perinatal mental health. So yeah, just absolutely loads of different bits and pieces. So I'm sure there'll be you can just scroll down, it keeps going. It's quite an extensive list now.
Yeah, we've got quite a back catalogue.
So yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy it.
Check us out.
Sarah and Lisa, honestly, I've been so humble there. The impact that the podcasts have had has been amazing. They actually have over 100,000 downloads now. So I really just wanted to share that with you so you could see what the art of possible was if you joined the fellowship scheme. So in terms of what are your plans once you qualify, I'm hoping that this next slide will help you in terms of that. The GM Primary Care platform hosts a number of information that's accessible to you. There's a GP section, so feel free to have a little look at that. There's also a job section on the Primary Care Careers website, as well as an events page. And we do, as we get notified of stuff, we do populate the events page and work closely with practices to include their jobs on the job section. So if you are looking for a salaried or a partner job, or even a long-term locuming job, it's probably worth checking out that. Equally, GM Connect is our digital job matchmaking tool. So a little bit like a dating app, but for jobs. GP practices place their jobs on there. They can upload profiles, and then they can reach out to individuals directly who are looking for a job. It's pretty much in its infancy, and we're hoping to grow GM Connect further as being kind of the first place of choice for people looking for a job, as well as individuals looking for suitable talents and candidates. So again, registration is free. If you want to remain anonymous on there, then you can hide your profile and just have a little mooch around. And in terms of some of you might be thinking about doing some locuming work, we do have a GM Workforce Bank. The bank is for GPs at the moment. So if you were looking for locum shifts, then again, you can register for free. You just have to upload some HR documentation, and then you can access shifts as practices post them. So if that's for you, register on GM Connect. So I have included a little video here, which I won't play. It's around primary care networks. I don't know about anybody else, but the NHS is a constant moving beast with lots of kind of structural changes. And sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get your head around kind of what does that actually mean and what does it mean for me working within primary care. So this is a really nice video. It's a little bit dated now, so it was developed at the start of the PCNs, but the essence of it and the content in it is really helpful to kind of understand the spirit of PCNs and why they were established. So if that's of interest to you, then the video link will be included. Equally, like I say, we're forever changing. You will know, hopefully, that July 22 CCGs were no longer, and across Greater Manchester, we were known as Greater Manchester Integrated Care System, where we come together with all the organisations, health and social care, for the greater good of the population. So that's just a little slide to kind of give you an overview of that. The reason that I do include this sort of information is it's always good just to have one eye on what's actually happening, because it will impact your work and how practices are structured. And a really good example of this is the King's Fund video that helps explain kind of the structure of the NHS, particularly in an ICB and ICS. And so again, that's a really short video, but I found it really helpful, and kind of I'm kind of working in these complex changes. So yeah, have a little look at that as well. And when we talk about changes specifically within general practice, I wanted to bring your attention to the additional role reimbursement scheme, or commonly known as ARS. It was the manifesto of the government that we should increase the number of roles across primary care by 26,000. So the number of roles now has been expanded. There's 17 roles in total. Some of them are, well, most of them are clinical and some of them are non-clinical, but it includes roles that you might be familiar with and not understand the reasoning behind kind of why you're working with these individuals within general practice, but roles such as physiotherapists, care coordinators, paramedics, pharmacists are probably the most common ones. And the additional role reimbursement is part of the GP contract. And so kind of like I'm saying, it's how that then impacts on your role as a GP in your working environment as a practice and across your primary care network. The new to partnership payment, the second section there, it's probably not going to be applicable to you, but it might be something that you might rapidly want to share with your peers. So this was to encourage the number of GPs that go into partnership. It's due to end at the end of March, so I know we're kind of nearly there, aren't we? But the applications are to be submitted before the 30th of June. So it might not be applicable to you, but if you have any colleagues that were thinking about partnership, maybe give them a little bit of a nudge to get their application in, because there is a huge investment to support the partners, the new partners of the future. And then the supporting mentor scheme. So supporting mentor scheme is really about retention of our experienced GPs and how they can help support our newly qualified GPs. And we have a particular programme of mentorship that's linked to the fellowship programme, which Mary will talk to you about. But because it's a great skill and asset to have, but that Mary and her team have gone on to develop the GPST mentors, and so that's where the fellows have the skills to mentor the GPSTs. And taking all of this learning that we've had over the last couple of years, in the new financial year, so 2023, we will be expanding that further. So it will be to offer mentorship to any of the GPs that are working within Greater Manchester, regardless of their career. So yeah, lots of really exciting stuff happening around mentorship. So national initiatives, there are a number. You will have already heard from Sarah and Lisa for the Primary Care Knowledge Boost, and they access the Health Education Fellowship Programme. Mary will talk to you about that, but it's very different from the GM Fellowship Programme, and it's very, very competitive. We don't know whether there will be this offer next year, so we're just waiting to hear from Health Education England, but worth keeping your ear out. There's also the HE Medical Education Fellowship Programme, so that's what you do when you're in training. And the reason that I have continued to include that within this slide, that although it might not be applicable to you, you might want to share it with some of your peers who can access that. Then there is the Higher Professional Education Programme, also known as HPE, because we love an acronym. It's a little bit of a taster ahead of the Professional Education Programme, also known as PED. And the feedback that we've had around PED has kind of been exceptional, really. It's managed by Education England, but they work in partnership with the commissioners across the Northwest, and we've commissioned additional places for our GPs within Greater Manchester to ensure that maximum exposure and participation is enabled. So that might be something that's of interest to you. And then the GP retention scheme, this is something that is really aimed at doctors that are working 4 or less sessions, and as a result might have considered leaving if they didn't get the support that the GP retention scheme offers. So it's probably not applicable right now, but it might be that in the future your personal circumstances change. You know, you might take on care responsibilities, and actually access to this particular programme and the support around this particular programme would be really, really beneficial. I was on a call last week with the national team, and apparently there are going to be some changes that are made to the GP retention scheme. There is currently this criteria around kind of 4 or less sessions, and apparently the word on the street is that that's going to be removed. So yeah, certainly there's something to bear in mind. And then for those of you that are interested in research, the National Institute for Health Research always has some great offers, not just for GPs, but for kind of dental colleagues and right across primary care. So it's always worth kind of having a little look on their website to see what portfolio opportunities might be available, particularly if research is something that's your bag and of interest to you. So I've included this slide. This is the slide from the national team. This is one way of describing what the offers are that come from the national team and what the funding from the national team supports. You'll see GP fellowship right there in the middle, clearly linked into newly qualified GPs that Mary's going to talk to you about. But across Greater Manchester, we have a whole host of opportunities. And this particular slide, whilst the document embedded here doesn't kind of work, the actual document, the PDF of this, when you click on each of the little hexagon, it takes you through to the information that's pertained to the various heading. And what we're trying to do is really make it open and transparent to all GPs that work across GM, regardless of where they are within their career, kind of what opportunities are available to you. And hopefully you can see that it's our ambition to kind of retain and support GPs across Greater Manchester. So this slide kind of is just useful links to all of the information that I've made reference to today. So it's there for your, you can browse it at your leisure. And then kind of the last thing that I would say is that, you know, if you do want to keep in touch with us, we do have an active distribution list. Drop me a line, we will add you to that list. And basically any new vacancies that come through to us, we make sure that they're passed on to GPs. So there's a regular comms that happens, as well as signposting that might be kind of new to us to kind of keep you in the loop. So if that's of interest to you, then please get in touch. And I mean, I have to say, one of the highlights of my job is coming out and kind of participating in the training programme event. So I'm really, really gutted that I can't be there today. But I absolutely wish you all the best with your exams. I hope we've gone some way to give you some assurance and encouragement to the reasons why you should stay and work in Greater Manchester. If we can help in any way at all, please do drop us a line and get in touch. If we don't know the answer, we certainly will know who to signpost you to, and we would be delighted to help you. So good luck. Hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.